But if you use the word globalism, for most of us now, that's very negative. But it is a globalist approach for voluntarism. Let people travel as much as conceivable. Let trade flourish as much as conceivable. Let no one nation be aggressive against another nation. Encourage people to use a sound currency, and that would it would be globalistic, but it wouldn't be global government. And I mentioned that about it's the power of global government using force that is the big danger, and that's when you invite the tyrants to come in because they believe in it, and they believe that the elite, the George Soroses of the world, they believe they're elite and they understand it better, and therefore they must have control. I really liked the last paragraph in the Declaration of Independence because I think they were very clear on what they were looking for, and it was a different goal than actually that came out of the Constitution. And the thing that they mentioned in the last paragraph 3 times is they were fighting and declaring this independence because they believed, and they used for they as for the colonies. It was they. It wasn't it. They believed in free and independent states, and that's mentioned 3 times, independent states. And yet they weren't thinking that they were going to be fighting. They were doing this together. They were fighting for their liberty together, and they were coming together. But they wanted to be free in independent states. Well, as time went on, there's nothing independent about the states. And as I said a few minutes ago, there's a striving for it. It's available to us, but it won't be changed by a technicality of the interpretation of the Constitution. It will only be changed with the determination of the people to understand why liberty is dependent on small government. And that doesn't mean that there'll be perfect people running small government. We know our city councils and county governments and state governments can do harm too, but it's so limited compared to what happens when a state government or the federal government gets involved, or a collusion of states like the European Union or NAFTA get together. But what about a world government? That is so risky. If men were perfect and you found the perfect manager, yeah, put him in charge. But that doesn't happen. It's not going to happen, and it would invite trouble. So there is a necessary need. There's a definite need for us to present the case for what a libertarian society would be like, because I mentioned this so often in my speeches about different groups, liberals and progressives and populists and all. If you understand liberty, it's not a threat to anybody because it brings people together. If you're not going to commit harm to somebody else, we're not going to touch you. So that's tolerance toward religion, tolerance towards personal attitudes, tolerance on all that we do in our property. And that is a tolerance that you have. And all of a sudden you think, oh, I am a liberal and I am a progressive and I believe in these things. And I don't now. If I reject the notion that I can force other people to act like I do, then it doesn't work. But there's no reason why somebody might use their liberties differently than another. You pick your own religion. You might pick your lifestyle. You might pick your habits. You might pick your eating habits, your smoking habits, and whatever, and your entertainment habits. And all of a sudden, people who act one way and differently. And that's the way it would be with countries. Countries would be different, and individuals would be different. But the key to it is the principle of liberty, where people are sovereign individuals, and the government that will be around for a while should be as close to home as possible. Under those conditions, and I think they're possible, there's reason for it to be optimistic, because there's a better understanding of this message today than there has ever been before, because it's always been big government, big government, big government, tyrants, and we have to take care of the people who won't take care of themselves. And that's why the cultural Marxists are such a threat to liberty, because they believe that they must do it. That is part of their philosophy, and that explains the reason why very rich people, you think, well, why are they arguing this thing for like socialism and Marxism? Well, it's social Marxism, and they want to control the people, and they want to divide up the loot on their own, and that is why they're such a threat to individual liberty. Chris, I want to thank you very much for being with us today on this important program dealing with secession. Chris?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Paul.
Well, very good. And I want to thank the viewers today for tuning in to our program. Please come back soon.